All right. Well, guys, thank you for coming today at 8 o'clock. It really means a lot to me that I'm here. Okay. Came all the way from New York City for this talk. All right. Didn't want to do it on Zoom because it's important for us to be face to face, especially after what we had about a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, COVID. Right. Time for us to connect. This right here, what we're about to experience together, is a group discussion. Yeah, I'm going to talk, say some stories, but I'm here for you guys. Okay. I don't know how many people are in here, but if I impact one person in this room, I did my job. I'm going to be happy tonight when I go to bed. Say, I could sleep well, right? So, first things first, talk a little bit about myself. We'll go into some professional development and some things that I wish somebody told me when I was leaving senior year. All right. So my name is Mark Trubanko. I'm a graduate from Quinnipiac in 2015. From there, I went to Stanford University, worked my first job out there with Stanford football. Go Card. There you go. Right. From there, I came back to Quinnipiac as a graduate assistant, got my MBA from 2016 to 2018. After that, I got out of NCAA sport, made a lot of mistakes, tried to do some entrepreneurial stuff, and it was great. People said I was crazy, but I was learning a lot, making mistakes, and that's how you learn. You don't learn by doing things correctly. Right? Even like the same thing with your athletes. They learn by doing things incorrectly and then they're going to improve. Just like in taping. The best tapers in the room are not the people that passed the first time, I guarantee you. It's the people that failed 5 times. All right? So after my graduate degree at Quinnipiac, after I did my fun entrepreneurial stuff, we had COVID. We got a call from Fairfield University, hey, we need help. People are leaving the job. Can you please fill in? Great. So I filled in half a year, and then it comes into the summer. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm applying to physical therapy school. Got denied a bunch of times. I've only been waitlisted once to a school from Tufts. So I'm like, why is there so much resistance? I'm not sure. My grades are pretty good. I wasn't straight A, but I just don't understand why is it so competitive right now. So I'm going to, took it as a sign and said maybe it's not the right time. All of a sudden, I look at my phone, I get a direct message from one of my friends from elementary school. Okay. Open up the direct message and it says, hey, Mark, it's been a long time we haven't spoken. But would you be willing to come work for the New York Knicks organization? I said, you know what? Let me sleep on this. I'll talk to you tomorrow. We get on the call next day, talking about the opportunities. And I said, listen, I want to let you know that I'm currently enrolled in Palmer Chiropractic School. So this really has to be a good opportunity for me to leave before your plan, right? So after we had that discussion, I slept on it. I said, please give me 48 hours. I needed 12. Okay, I called her the next day at 8 a.m. said, let's do it. Sign me up. 9 days later, I got hired. Okay, the last 2 years, I was working with the New York Knicks organization. My main assignment was the G League team. Okay, but I've worked with the big dogs a lot. And it was a great experience. I wouldn't have traded it for the world. It was my dream, and I obtained it. But in August, I left my dream job because I wasn't satisfied with me as a clinician and where I can be in the future. So, couldn't get into PT school, that's fine. Maybe that's a gift from God saying, hey, that's not your path. So, applied to University of Bridgeport Chiropractic down the road. They enrolled me, they accepted me, thank God. Also getting my master's in acupuncture as well from there. And the reason why is because for me, I want to have as many tools in my toolbox as possible. Okay? Because sometimes the hammer is not going to work. Maybe the wrench is better. Or maybe none of those are going to work and you have to use a saw. Right? You cannot just rely on one skill. Just like with your athletes and players. People that have multiple skills are usually the ones that are on the court field. Right? So that's pretty much about me and my path from 2015 to this current moment. All right. So yeah, it's been exciting, and I'm really excited for what's coming. But I'm not here to talk about myself. I'm here for you guys. All right. So for the seniors that are in the class, how many days until graduation? 200. You have 200 days until May 11th. Okay? So, we have 200 days till graduation, right? So what does that mean? You have 200 days to make as many mistakes as possible as you have a safety net beneath you now. Because in 201 days, you're not going to have a safety net. You are the athletic trainer, right? I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to give you the reality. You've been working 3.5 years to get to this point, 200 days away. That's what you've been working for 4 years, right? It's exciting. But right now, you need to lock in and get as much as you can out of the next 200 days. Okay? Tomorrow, it's 199 days. Clock is ticking, right?
We're going to be peers pretty soon.
Yes.
We'll be colleagues.
Yes. So, make as many mistakes as possible in the next 200 days. As many mistakes as possible.
I mean,
okay.
Look, you don't make a ton of them, but
yeah. Okay. Funny. Another thing I want you guys to do is to learn from every clinical instructor that is at this university and at the other rotational sites that you guys are at. When I went to Stanford University for my first job out of school, I had a notebook in my back pocket at all times. There was 18 of us on staff. So I was watching John Doe over here doing his hamstring evaluation, writing every single detail down of what he's checking. Symmetry of the pelvis, leg-length discrepancy, active straight leg raise, range of motion, 90, 60, 30 MMTs, right? That was really quick. But that was just one person's evaluation. So I did that for 17 other people, and I got 17 different hamstring evaluations. Then I carried that out for every single evaluation that I saw. And we're going to touch upon this a little bit later, but the reason why that's important in the next 200 days is because over the next 200 days, you have to start to create a clinical identity. I'm still creating my clinical identity. I'm 30. But I challenge you guys to create a clinical identity. All right? Because in an interview, if you interviewed with me, I would ask, what is your clinical philosophy and what is your style? And I was asked that same exact question by the Golden State Warriors when I was interviewing with them right before COVID. What is your clinical style? How do you take an athlete from an acute injury from the court, right? Ankle sprain, boom. How do you take them from that moment to full turn return to play? Answer the question. That was the question I was asked with the head of the Golden State Warriors. What's the answer to that question? To this day, I don't know, right? What was he looking for? I'm not sure. But it's important because you're going to get that question. And you got to know who you are as a clinician, all right? As you get into the workforce and as you're trying to obtain that job, this job, whatever it is, know who you are, okay? So moving off of that, of making mistakes, learning from others, I want you guys to act as an athletic trainer starting tomorrow. A certified athletic trainer starting tomorrow. Okay? Why wait till 199 days from now? Act as it now. Because after May 11th or May 12th, whenever you guys graduate, shit, I did this for 199 days already. I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's go. Does that make sense? This is your dress rehearsal before you go perform on Broadway. Does that make sense? Great. So, now, leading into that, what are your goals for this year? Now this is a discussion. What are your goals? Anyone? There's no wrong answer. And if nobody has a goal right now, we're going to have a good time. Okay.
Right there with you.
You're going to pass. You wouldn't have made it to this point unless you're going to pass. All right? And whoever has their capstone tomorrow is going to crush it. All right? Okay, and you email me after you crush it. Okay? So, outside of that, which is a good goal, in the next 199 days, I'm going to ask again, what are your goals?
Just stay exactly the way you are.
Great. I love that. Anybody else? No wrong answers.
Like just like be confident and everyone might need our processes without second guessing themselves.
Yes. Great. I love that. I love that. And your process is always going to be evolving. But I love that for the next 199 days. Anybody else? And if you think of something as we get going, you let me know. So those are all great goals. But I also want to add things on your radar that you might, after I say it, that is a goal of mine. So moving off of what you said, what's your name back there? Erin. Nice to meet you, Erin. So yeah, you should try and act as that ATC starting tomorrow, right? So what does that mean? Part of your goals should include updating coaches and having those conversations with coaches. And not just ask Sarah, what did coach say today? Right? Practice speaking with coaches. Now, in regards to coaches, I want to let you know that your job is not to educate them. That's not what you get paid to do. You get paid to make sure that the athletes are safe for today in preparation to play tomorrow. That's your job, right? Your job does not mean educate the coach. Do they educate you on the game of whatever they coach? No. You don't have to educate them. You inform them of why this person is not in practice or why they're limited. They can't protect themselves, for example. That's why they're not on the field. All right, but it's not your job just to educate till you're blue in the face, right? Wasted energy. Along with that, establishing treatment plans. Are you going to your clinical, you call it clinical instructors now? Is that what it is? Clinical instructors. Are you asking, oh, what are we doing for treatment today? Are you showing up to clinical with a sheet of paper with everybody on the roster and their active injuries, and you're saying, Sarah, this is my treatment plan for every single person on the roster? When I was at Stanford, we had a big injury, syndesmotic sprain, grade 2+. I was assigned to just work with him. We had 5 guys on staff, 105 athletes. They said, Mark, you've touched nobody besides this guy. So for 6 hours a day, I was with this guy. And when I walked in to work, I had to hand my supervisor what I was doing today by the minute. At 8 a.m., we were on the bike. At 8:15, we're doing effleurage milking massage, edema reduction massage. At 8:30, we're doing Hivamat. At 8:45, we're doing contrast game ready for 20 minutes. Then we're going on the Pilates reformer from 9:05 to 9:25, working on A, B, C, and D. Then we're going to go to the pool for 15 minutes and offload him and try and work on some calf raises. Then we're going back to the table and working on our edema reduction stuff from this time to this time. 6 hours worth every day. And that's how you show you're prepared, right? And if shit hits the fan at work, well, guess what? I've got this. This is my plan right here. And if something goes wrong, that's fine. I can diverge, right? You guys can adapt. You're not making it this far unless you can adapt, right? So, moving off of that, I'm kind of skipping now, but are you just showing up to clinical every day? Or do you have a goal in hand for that day? Do you have the treatment goals? Do you have the practice goals? Do you have the weight room goals that you want your ACLR reconstructive patient to get through a lower body lift? Or are you just showing up? Because guess what? In 200 days, you can't just show up. All right, guys? And it's going to make your job so much easier if you just prepare instead of just show up. Okay? So moving back to the goals for the rest of the year, we spoke about updating coaches, establishing treatment plans, learning how to establish weight room and practice restrictions. How many of you guys hang out in the weight room with the strength coaches? Good, good, good. How many of you know who Coach Brajesh Patel is? I hope so after the national championship. But you have one of the best strength coaches in the United States of America up the road. There are people in the professional setting that know who that man is. And the amount of people that he knows and impacted throughout his career is unbelievable. And I'm sorry, I'm an athletic trainer. I love athletic trainers. But, we do rehab, right? And we do exercise. But who is better than the strength and conditioning coaches in regards to loading through movement, right? So those people over there are your teammates as well. You may work with the field hockey team. They work with the field hockey team. Why wouldn't you guys speak the same language? Why not? You should speak the same language, right? Because there were multiple times where for example, we were doing a hamstring return to play run progression, right? And before that, we're in the weight room, and I'm an athletic trainer, and I'm with the strength coach. And if you guys are just a fly on the wall watching us work, you would not know who's who because we speak the same language. That makes sense?
Great place to steal your cues from, right? Like as we say, hey, get better at your cueing, or consider cueing differently, or ribs down. We hear B say ribs down. Well, I might say you're flaring your rib. No, we've got to speak the same language. The athletes know what that language is, and then they know we communicate well in our professional relationships.
Exactly. And if they see that the strength coach and the athletic trainer communicate well, they know that they've got a staff around them, not just a bunch of people that show up to work. Along with that, creating injury reports. How many people in this room have created an injury report for the team that they work with? One? So. We're going to go over that, how to create an injury report, a little bit later. All right? But in 200 days from now, you're going to be the one that's creating those. How many of you have spoken to physicians about a case that you're working with? Great. Continue to do that. All right? Ask them what they're looking for. Ask them how do they carry out their special tests, because orthopedic surgeon special tests are going to be better than yours. They do it all the time. Pick up as much as you can from the people around you. The clinical instructors, the strength coaches, the doctors, the sports psychiatrists, the nutritionists. And lastly, spend time in the weight room. All right? So those are hopefully can give you some ideas of maybe some goals that you should formulate for the next 199 days. Okay? Because if you want to be an athletic trainer, we should act as one today, moving into tomorrow and so on. Okay? We kind of touched upon the next thing, the daily goals of are you just showing up, or are you coming prepared with treatment plans and practice goals? Very important. Okay? And I must tell you, when I work with patients or athletes, both, I show them the plan of the day. And they say, man, that sounds good to me. And the reason why I include them is because without them, I don't have a job. I'm there to serve the athlete. So they better be involved in the decision-making process. Not saying that they're dictating what I'm doing, but we're a team. And I want them on the court as much as they want to be on the court. So if this plan is good for you, it's good for me. Does that make sense? And they're really going to appreciate that, because you're not just telling them what to do. Treat them like a human with empathy. And if they're injured, you know that they're starting to lose their identity a little bit. Because if an athlete's not playing, there's a loss of identity there. Okay. So, going into the professional world, any questions? So going into the professional world, you're going to be placed in many uncomfortable situations. Many. What do you do in these uncomfortable situations? Any suggestions? Have any of you been placed in uncomfortable situations in clinical? How did you guys handle it? You don't have to tell us what happened, but how did you handle it? Yeah.
You either double down or you reevaluate.
Okay. What about you?
Yeah, I kind of you have to attack it head on, or
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I've been placed in a lot of uncomfortable situations. All right, and I'm sure Sarah has those as more than me. Okay. And the point of what I'm going to try and make is you have to lean on your sports medicine team. The team, right? When I was a graduate student here, we had an issue. 6:45 in the morning, the coach is already attacking me on the bus, attacking me, because I put ACL patient that we were trying to get back for the senior day. He didn't want to get surgery, just wanted to start the game on senior day and walk off the field. So we know, because this is what we do, that the Biodex does not cause any issues with somebody who has a torn ACL, right? We know this. And also, what is the doc going to ask for? What are the Biodex scores? Hamstring to quad ratio. The doc's going to want to see that, right? Right?
Science behind your thought.
Exactly. You're not going to say it looks good, doc. No, here's the data. They can carry out 18 single leg squats to a box. Based on the research, that's what they should hit. I think it's a 22-inch box. You know, you have to have a reason why you know they're good, doc, right? This is why they're good, and I'm showing you why. So back to the story. I have my student with me. The coach is right at, but not even talking to me, just badgering me on the field at 6:45 a.m. before practice in front of the athletes. And my student was trying to protect me, and he tried to step in. I said, "Oh no, buddy, this is for me. You go sit there." Okay? And I'm not here to educate this person who is coming at me. You know what I did? I said, "I welcome you to have a discussion with my medical director and my boss. I welcome you to do that." And they said nothing. And I turned around, picked up my phone, called Ernie, called Jen, said, "I'm letting you guys know this is what's coming in today, so be prepared." I leaned on my sports medicine staff and my superiors. I know I did nothing wrong, but I need to prep them for what's coming into their office, right? And before that person came in to talk to my boss, they shut it down. You're wrong, right? So lean on your sports medicine team for support. Communicate with them. How should I handle this? Okay.
Recognizing who's willing to be educated and who's not, right? That coach wasn't looking to be educated.
Exactly.
They wanted to tell you, but you were the expert. You are the expert in that situation. And we say there's sometimes where you have to just simply shut it down, give it some space, and allow somebody else to acknowledge that you know what you're doing and the right person is in the position to make those decisions.
Exactly. So,
if they were blindsided by it, there would have been some backtracking. They would have said, "Oh, I have to check with Mark. I have to do something else," right? Because Mark communicated. That didn't happen.
That happened. All right. Rely on your sports medicine team. They're there for you guys. You guys work 80 hours a week together. You might as well get along and communicate and support each other, right? Might as well. Document everything, even conversations. Very important. Okay? Even if it seems silly, document conversations.
And it's tricky, right? With our documentation has changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we had sportswear, we had all these different massages, you had different things. I was just talking about this earlier today, and now it's Epic. So you guys don't have the same access to doing the documentation like you would have in the past, or like we have offered our students in the past. So I think one of the things to do is be diligent in your practice, right? And then when it is a conflict, make sure it's a quick text message in writing.
Yes.
With only the facts. Keep your emotion out of it, right?
Yes.
There's a way to do that. That I want to steal your lines, but I think that that's important, right? Making sure that you do put some things in writing when it's a stickier situation.
Yep. So now this is going to be my favorite part of the talk. All right? And it's about understanding the person that's in front of you. Their why is more important than their what. Have you ever heard of that? Their why is more important than their what. Why are they here versus what are they doing here is a big difference. Okay? They aren't athletes. They're humans that happen to play a sport. They're a human first. But we just call them athletes. You do not know how many people, professional basketball players that I've worked with, that like me, and I've heard them say this to the people around them, that say, "He treats me like a person." How sad is that? You know, these big-time pro athletes who we look up to, right? And we watch 3-4 times a night to see what they do, but people just take advantage of them or just want to be involved with them. They could sniff that out really quickly. If you treat them as a human and be genuine, that will take you far. Okay? So understand the person in front of you personally. Why are they doing this? Do they play basketball because they love it? Is it just their talent that's taking them and they really don't like it? Or are they only in school here because they have an athletic scholarship? And without that athletic scholarship, they're still stuck in the hood. You have to understand the story behind the athlete that's in front of you. Maybe this person seems like an asshole, rough around the edges, combative. We have to understand why. So you talk to him, then you find out what's motivating him is money, because his brother's in jail and he wants to set him up when he gets out of jail. Me knowing that information and understanding the person that's in front of me, not the basketball player, not the soccer player. I'm talking about the person. Knowing that, I'm going to be able to help them so much more. Because when they're starting to lose focus or something like that, then I'm going to say, remember your why. Do it for them. If you can't do it for yourself right now, do it for them. Understand the person in front of you personally. What about culturally? How many of you work with international students? Great. Where are they from?
Got one from Uruguay, one from Spain, one from Argentina.
How's your interactions with them?
Pretty decent. Sometimes there's a language barrier where I can't really understand their accents thicker than others. But usually it's pretty good. Their English is pretty good.
Now, what can we do to try and assimilate with those that are from different cultures? What can we do? Any guesses? Great. I love that. Great. Questions? Great. Learn how to say hello in their native language. That'll bring a smile to their face. Okay. Maybe ask them about cultural dishes that you should try. I guarantee you talk to your international people a little bit differently from their viewpoint, their vantage point. Learn to say hello, just hello. You don't need to be fluent. That's going to go a long way. Okay. So, moving off of understanding the person in front of you, how do we create buy-in? How do we? What are strategies that you guys do to create buy-in? Excellent. If you take the time to know them as a person, right? You're taking that time. They're going to probably trust you and listen to what you have to say, right? What are other ways?
But then that you're there to help them and you're there to work with them to make them better.
Great. Great. Anything else? Great. We're going to touch on that too. But yes, education is huge. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in regards to rehab. So I want to share a story of how did I create cultural buy-in and personal buy-in with an athlete that I had here at this university when I was a grad student. She was from China. She was a golfer, freshman. Back pain. Nervous because she's in a new country, playing golf, first injury, back pain, far away from home. What do? Season's right around the corner. So I'm evaluating her. I'm saying, hey, let's try this, this, and that. Very reluctant to do anything. Did not want me to touch her. Did not want me, resistant to instrument-assisted soft tissue mobilization. Resistant to exercise because she did not, at that current moment, she was a little timid to carry out exercise to improve her back pain. And we know that exercise is number one way to improve back pain, right? A lot of research about that. But that's another talk. So what did I do besides scratch my head and say, how can I get this girl to trust me and how can I intervene where she's comfortable? So I thought, she's from China. What do we have here that I can use that she might have experience with versus some other modalities? I grabbed the Chinese cupping kit. the mild decompression cupping kit. I came over to her and I asked her for permission to show it to her. She's included in this process. I'm not saying we're just doing this. This is the last thing we could do for your back pain. No, I said, have you ever seen this before? These cupping kits. I've learned that in China they use this to restore qi, which is energy. She looked at me with a smile on her face and said, let's do it. So from understanding the culture and where she comes from, I was able to break the ice to intervene. From that moment on, I was able to do anything to try and improve her back pain, whether that was using my hands, instrument-assisted soft tissue mobilizations, exercise, she was in. Because I showed that I actually care about her feelings and where she comes from. That makes sense? With rehab, how do you create buy-in with rehab? How do you do it?
Think about the times maybe that you haven't been able to create buy-in, or think about somebody that you've watched create buy-in. What have they done? Some of your mentors or the people that you admire in the field.
Right.
Data-driven, yeah. Solve it.
It's like the competitive
Mm-hmm.
like challenging them to be more.
Yeah. Yep. Great. 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 Love that. And before I continue with this, what the heck is rehab? What is it? What is orthopedic rehab? Tell me. You guys do it, right? So what is it?
I feel like it's like strengthening and like a safe
Okay.
in a sense.
I like that. I like that. Anything else? And this is, yep, go. Good, good. And this is why I stated something about the strength coaches and being able to understand what they do and how they do it and how they cue things. Okay? How do you create buy-in rehabilitatively? You said it perfectly. That's what everybody said great things. But competitive nature. You work with an elite athlete, professional athlete, they're very good at everything that they do. And if you show them an exercise that seems very simple, but you know they're going to fail at, you know it because you know your stuff. They're going to attempt that exercise. They're going to see that you did it 3 to 5 reps because you did it flawlessly. They'll be like, okay, let's do this. And then they can't even do it. Can't even do 1 rep. You didn't even create the buy-in the exercise did. But you chose the exercise because you know your biomechanics, you know your planes of motion, you know where their deficit is, right? And your exercise selection was perfect to the point that it challenged them so much that they realized that they need your help. You see how that works? Now, if you work with professional athletes, for example, they're the best in the world at what they do, right? Luckily, I was in the NBA, 450 of best basketball players on the face of the planet. So now, if they come to you for help, if they're the best in the world, you better be one of the best at what you do too, right? So what, if I'm on a $100 million contract, why am I not going to go to the best? And I'm telling you guys, you have one shot to take advantage of that opportunity. And that's why it's important to know your stuff. Because it's not convincing them, hey, no, this is good. They're going to know it's good. Your work is going to speak for itself. There's no convincing. Does that make sense? This is such an important piece. You give an athlete something that seems so simple that you know they're going to fail at. Have them do it. You're going to say, yes.
You're showing them their vulnerabilities, right? Physically. They don't think they have. And you're like, we're going to make you even better than you were before. Also, Mark is great at modeling, right? So he'll show the exercise. We do that ourselves, right? We try to show him, and then it's like, you can't do a single leg stand for runner for this amount of time, or you can't do, glute activation in the right order. We're going to show you how to do it, or we'll say, hey, this is a low key hard exercise, try it. But you have to be able to do it yourself, so there's a point of reference for them. I'm like, I'm not more athletic than you guys, and that creates the buy-in.
Yeah, and this is why it's important for you guys to train yourselves, right? How can you cue somebody if you don't know what the exercise should feel like? How? Tell me, how can you teach me something that you don't know how to do and how to cue? Where's the force? Where's the weight distributed? Are we in the forefoot, midfoot, or hindfoot? Well, it matters whether you're accelerating in neutral or decelerating. You see that detail? If you're working on acceleration drills, you better have a positive shin angle, not a negative one, because that's deceleration. See that? So understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. Give the athlete something that they're going to seem something that's easy, but it's going to be very challenging. They're going to fail at. Buy-in very fast. Anything off of that? We're all good? So I didn't ask, did I answer the question of what is rehab? Did I say that? No. Rehab is training in the presence of pain. That's all it is. If somebody's not in pain, they're training. If they're in pain, they're doing rehab. That's why what the athletic trainer does and what the strength coach does, very similar. And you have to use your words and learn how to cue in order to create the biomechanical movement for the desired change that you're trying to achieve. Your words, education. How do you know if you're educating the athlete? All right? Are they dependent on you? Do they only do their exercises when you're there? Because what I tell my athletes is, if I am not in the room and you carry out everything that I suggested for you to do, and you did it with the details that I taught you, and you heard me in your head, I did my job and you did your job because you learned. But if I don't take that opportunity to educate them, they're just going to go in there and do something that I don't even know what it is. Educate them of what they're doing, why they're doing it, when they should do it, and then why again. How many of you have taken any continuing education courses? Okay. How many of you are interested in any continuing education courses based off of what you've been exposed to in your rotations? What are you exposed to? Strength coaching, great. What team are you with? Good, nice. What about you? I'm glad you said that because I'm about to say something. But don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Anybody else? Good, great. Anything else? Who works with Sarah in here? PRI? Yeah. NKT, has anybody heard of that? DNS? These are all things that you should get familiar with, right? Those are the tools in the toolbox. That's the hammer, the saw, and the wrench. And if this tool doesn't work, that tool doesn't work, well, don't worry, I got a big toolbox. And I'll use it all until something works, right? So, create your own clinical identity by learning from the people around you, but also when you go into the workforce, continuing education courses. When I was in your seat, okay, in 2014, who's heard of active release techniques? Great. When I was a student, I don't know if you guys know, but there's student discounts, and I took advantage of those. So by the time that I was a senior, I was 66% of the way there of being full body certified. So then I apply to jobs, then they're going to see, wow, this person was a student and they did these continuing education courses. This is great, right? The classroom and all the things that you do here is wonderful, but that's going to be done in 200 days. In regards to your clinical identity, what clinician are you? Are you a manual therapist? Are you an expert in movement? You know? do you just really desire to do nutrition? You know, you're a nutritional based clinician. You don't have to answer that now, but this is something to think about as we get going. All right. Now, I like that you guys said dry needling, but that would not be my first choice. And the reason why is because right now there's no shot your palpation skills are good enough. In the future, they will be, right? How many treatments have you done to understand what the quality of soft tissue is? Is this healthy soft tissue, or is this not healthy soft tissue? Right? If you don't have your palpation, if you don't have your biomechanics down, all of that stuff, why am I going to start poking needles? Right? I love dry needling. I'm going to acupuncture school. Another different type of needling, right? But the thing is, make sure that your skills with your hands and all that, and I'm going to touch upon that a little bit later. The only 4 things that you need to be a good clinician. Okay, so practice the craft, create your own clinical identity, and go from there. When you feel like your palpation is rock solid, you're a rock star, go ahead, because then it's going to make your dry needling that more effective. And instead of
the original tools.
Yes.
These are them, right here.
Yes.
Proficient with them first, then build.
Exactly. All right. So I love dry needling. Do it when you feel confident, right? Within the continuing education stuff, I want to touch upon how do you network? What are strategies to network? How do you guys in here network? Anyone?
I've witnessed almost all of you network, and you might not even realize it. How do you network? How do we network?
Right. Anything else?
Another thing is showing interest in what someone else does.
Yeah. Great. That's great too.
Who's worked with a Heartbeat Foundation? Who has done the cheer challenge? Any networking happening there? Meeting people from your other, interprofessional parts of sports medicine or coaches here. You might know somebody else that might need an athletic trainer.
So the beginning part of a network to create networking is, hello, my name is blank. What is your name? Right? You go to a continuing education course that's over 3 days. I challenge you to introduce yourself and meet one person per day. Because when I was a young professional, I started to get comfortable around day 2 and then real comfortable around day 3. And then I realized, wow, these are cool people that I should have been talking on Friday. Because then I would have had 72 hours to build relationships with them instead of 36. Right? So you never know how far a simple hello can take you. Because the person that you're talking to, if you want to go, work in the MLB, who knows? That person that you're talking to's cousin could be the general manager of the Los Angeles Angels. That happens all the time. Okay? How to network? How many of you would think about writing an email to all 30 teams in the NBA if you want to be in the NBA? Or writing handwritten letters? I know 3 people that are in 2 in the NBA, 1 in Major League Baseball that got their job by a handwritten letter that they sent to every single team in the country. What do you have to waste? We're already scrolling Instagram all day. Sit down, write a letter, explain to who you are and why you think that this would be a valuable opportunity and how you could impact the organization. 3 people have big-time jobs off of a handwritten letter. Crazier things have happened, right? And then also, if you meet people, reach out to them during the holidays or even on a random Tuesday, just thinking about you, hope all's going well. Good luck on the season. Now, you don't think I'm going to contact my former employees with the Knicks tomorrow when they start the season? Good luck. Goes a long way. Okay.
Mark said you reached out to, well, you don't know that I know this actually. You reached out to Coach B.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to be in the area.
Yep.
You around? So simple. Or my team's going to be at Penn State. Hey, Coach, how you doing? I'm out your way. Not sure if you have any time, but just wanted to touch base. I hope your season's going, or you keep rolling with your season.
Yeah.
Right. Little things like that we talked about.
Going to conferences, even if you don't have the funds for continuing education, you could go to a symposium, meet a lot of people there, right? Online resources, there's a lot out there. Okay, guys, this is a very small world, very small. Okay, and in regards to athletic training, it's even smaller. Okay, because when I was a student, I was at the athletic training convention, active release techniques convention in Nashville, Tennessee. I got an email from somebody that was high up in the program when I was here, and they said, the people from Mississippi State that you're with this weekend at the conference emailed us because they know us, and they said that you represented the program very well. Right? So you don't even know who you're representing. Right? Outside of yourself, you're representing this program and your family. Right? So say hello, be genuine, be a human, wish them good luck. If you're in the area, you call them. All right? Establish mentors, please. And it's not like, oh yeah, can you be my mentor? No, you're my mentor. I don't care what you have to say. You're my mentor. You know. It's always important to have somebody to bounce things off of. Okay, we're not in this alone in all aspects of life. Okay, find somebody that you look up to in your prospective field or where you wish to go, and get in contact with them. If they're giving a talk, you go to the talk. If they're doing a continuing education course and you want to meet Stuart McGill, do you know who Stuart McGill is? Okay. Who doesn't know who Stuart McGill is? Great. I really, really wanted to learn from Stu. So what did I do? I took a course with him at UCLA. Got to know him, got to talk with him and learn from him for 2 days, right? Fortunately, I was able to fly out there, but what better way to put yourself in the room with an expert? How do you become an expert? Hang out with people that are so much smarter than you, and you're going to get a little bit better. Okay? Because if I'm the smartest one in the room, I'm in the wrong freaking room. I'm running from that room. Okay? I want to surround myself with people that are going to elevate me. Right? So, if you know somebody that's coming in the area that you look up to, find a way to get in contact with them. Instagram, email, letter, whatever. And even if it's a DM, somebody DM'd me and says, hi, I saw a video of yours on Instagram or something, right? Or YouTube, whatever. What advice would you give to a young professional like me who's going to go into the workforce in 2.5 years? I'm answering that DM now, right? But if you ask me, hey, how's it being in the NBA? Probably not answering, right? So ask, what advice can you give to a young professional like me who's aspiring to be in a position like you for one day? One day. All right? That goes a long way.
Your mentors don't have to just be in the same exact profession, or they can be your former athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Light.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
He's worked in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
He had a job that you were interested
mm-hmm.
in, or he was in a league that you were interested in, right? You've connected with him
Yep.
a couple of times. Yep. Former men's basketball player, right? So understanding who's going where you want to be and continuing that connection.
Exactly. So, along with this, and what really opened my eyes when I was at Stanford was the interdisciplinary environment that we established there. interdisciplinary. All right? If you create an interdisciplinary team around you, your outcomes are going to be far better. Okay? Utilizing the strength coaches, nutritionists, so on and so forth. Okay? I'm not going to go on a rant about that. But you want to surround yourself in an interdisciplinary environment. Okay? I want to go over how to write an injury report, and then I'm going to have my concluding thoughts of the 4 tools that you need to be an incredible clinician. Okay? How to write an injury report. Okay? You have columns, right? Please go to your clinical instructors and look at how do they do their injury report, because my injury report is different than Sarah's. I might not color code mine, but she might. Do you?
Yeah.
I knew it.
Really
Yeah. So, name in the left column, who the athlete is, John Doe. The injury, hamstring. Next column, side, left or right. Next column could be severity, right? Moving on, practice status, limitations, weight room status, limitations. Hope you're going to remember this. All right? Name.
That's a cue.
That's a cue.
Feel
That's a
free
cue,
to-
guys.
It is being recorded.
Yeah, no, we're good. So name, injury, body part, but take a look at all the clinical instructors around you. Hey, give me a copy of the injury report, please, just so I could see your flow. Because what I thought my injury reports were good, and then I saw my colleagues, I'm like, I like that. It's much easier to read, more appealing to the eye, and actually easier for the coach to understand. Okay?
Speaking to what Mark's saying right now,
Mhm.
real world application today, I get a group text for our staff that says, when we are putting status for our athletes, please don't put to tolerance. Put in, out, and then or limited and what they are allowed to do. Right? We have to be clear, because somebody must have interpreted someone's injury report as they wanted to. Right?
Yeah.
So now we're not, okay, you can fool me once with that. Now I'm going to make sure that that person is clear on what I mean by that. Right?
Yep.
And so I've been in the field 25 years, right? So after 25 years, I put the tolerance on there. But if I'm not going to be present, I'm not putting the tolerance anymore. I'm not going to because no one's looking at their mechanics. No one's looking at any of that. So just make sure, again, as the liability comes, you're doing this to communicate effectively. Make sure that that piece might be effective.
Yeah. Last thing. And I thank you for your attention and time. I'm going to give you 4 tools that you need to be an incredible clinician. There's no bells and whistles. You don't have to have it all. Colorado, Stanford, all the bells and whistles. You don't need any of that crap. That's just sexy stuff, right? So the first tool that you need are your hands to treat. Okay. Your second is your mind to think, to critically think. Third is your words to educate and to teach. And lastly, your eyes to observe. I'm going to break that down a little bit. Okay? Your hands to treat. This establishes a lot of trust. I'm not saying that you have to do soft tissue on every single athlete. No. But understand that God gave you these things. All 4 tools everybody in this room has. That's all you need to be a great clinician. Okay? Your hands to treat. Now, I'm going to give a little funny story with a baseball player that I had here, post Tommy John. All right? And this is the power of knowing your athlete, knowing what he needs, building rapport and understand, and all the buy-in. We establish all that. But what I'm about to explain to you and tell you right now is this entire talk with one athlete, basically leading up to one athlete, right? So we did active release techniques on his surgical arm. We went pretty aggressive because, we knew that he had day recovery, wasn't throwing the next day, blah, blah, blah. So he comes in. I'm working with an athlete over there in that room, and he comes in. Mark, can you please do something? My arm is just feels off. It's like, well, I told you yesterday we're going aggressive. Today we're not doing too much. We need that soft tissue to heal. We're not over-treating this. Okay, because then I'm going to injure the tissue. And yesterday then was a waste. And you're not going to like me tomorrow because you're going to feel worse. Right? Education. I understand you want more, but more is going to be a detriment right now. So he goes, Mark, I need you to do something for me, please. Okay, sit down. I said, I'll do something for you, but only if you allow me to do it. Once again, keeping him involved in the process. You see this? He goes, yes, go ahead. What do you have for me? I go, I've been reading about these meridian lines. And it's going to be a little weird because I'm going to do it on your non-dominant hand. But can I work these meridian pressure points all along the arm? Yes, please do it. Okay? Go to his left arm, here, going up, this, that, all the way up to the shoulder. Boom, slap him on the shoulder. And I say, now take your right hand and grab your left ear and pull it twice. Pull it twice. Slapped him on the shoulder. I said, get up, tell me how you feel. Gets up. Whew, I feel great. And he walks out. And then my student goes, Mark, what did you just do there? And I leaned in and I said, I gave him some confidence that everything's going to be okay. So this athlete comes in about 30 minutes later because he's a pitcher and, they don't really practice. They just play basketball in the rec center. And he comes in and he says, Mark, I just hurt my back. I'm working with the athlete and I look. I go, hey, take your right hand, grab your left earlobe, pull it twice. And then he goes, oh, shit. He realized that I was messing with him. But because of how I approached it, okay, right? You see? It's that easy, okay? But it's about knowing the person in front of you.
Created buy-in, right?
Yeah.
Create buy-in. And you want it to get better.
Yeah, yeah, okay. All right, last thing and I'll get you guys out of here. Your hands to treat, your mind to think, your words to teach, and your eyes to observe. The eyes are important, okay, for multiple things, not just biomechanical stuff. Use your eyes to observe the people in front of you. Maybe they're a little off. Maybe they're distancing themselves from the team. And they're isolating themselves. And that's unlike them. Are you just going to, maybe they're just in a bad mood. Maybe they failed the test. Don't assume. Ask them if they're all right. Because maybe somebody just died. Right? Observe the people around you. Okay. Your hands to treat, your mind to think, your words to teach, your eyes to observe. Thank you, guys.
Does anybody have any questions or comments or anything?
How about you guys?
Yes.
Luca, what you got?